Large Family and the beginning of July garden tour. We were gone for 2 weeks, and so we came back and we've been spending the morning weeding. However, I'll show you the chickens have been moved into the experimental run, and so they don't need any weeds to eat, and so we've just been pulling them up and throwing them on the ground. We are actually still able to harvest some lettuce that's under this tree, so that's good. It's my son's corn. So very interesting about the corn. My son planted a patch of corn. This is a little shaded, so I would think, oh, maybe that's why it's short. But I planted 2 patches of corn in 2 different places, and they are short as well. And I don't know why they're so short this year. And they're the same seeds I've always used, but they're all producing corn. So I don't know if anyone has any insight on that. Okay, the carrots are doing well. We'll start harvesting them this week. I have zucchini coming up here. The tomato plants are doing well. Most of these were laying on the ground when we got back, and so that's, I think, what all the yellow is just they were kind of sitting in the rain all for these 2 weeks. So we tied these all up and harvested all the ripe ones. We're getting plenty of Japanese eggplants and only a few peppers because they just haven't turned yet. But I don't know, what are these called? American eggplants, regular eggplants, but they're starting to produce, so I'm excited about that. We haven't harvested any yet, but they're starting to produce. Sweet potatoes are doing well that I planted last month as they sprout from those black buckets. I'm still transplanting more. We are still getting a lot of strawberries. I looked back in the videos from this time last year, and this was just a mat of green. And it looked beautiful, but none of the strawberries were either, they weren't getting enough sun because there was too much green, or I was not being able, I couldn't see the strawberries because there was so much green. So now that they're more spaced out, and that was more, it could have been one of 2 things. It could have been on accident because we didn't have composted manure to spread on the strawberries before we put wood chips down for the winter. We only had just straight up manure from the roosting table. And so it was less spread, more just kind of plopped down. And so I think that could have, matted down some of the strawberry plants too much, and they didn't come through, so that's why they're more spread out this year. Or this is the 3rd year of these everbearing, which is typically when you have to pull everything up and buy new ones and replant, and I have not had to do that, but maybe that's why they're more sparse. But either way, it's turned out wonderful because we've been able to harvest tons of strawberries, whereas last year we were literally getting like 1 or 2 a week. This is the 2nd bed of beans that I planted, and we're getting we're getting a ton of beans. Our other strawberry bed is a mat of green, which, you know, is fine. And then in the spring, I'll just pull to make rows and make them more sparse, make them more spread out like the everbearing, so that we can have good thick berries. Our basil plants are doing well. We were able to make pesto this week. Again, we had a lot of rain, so our gladiolas kind of got beat down, but they were pretty while they lasted. They're still pretty. So because we were gone for 2 weeks, our potato beds have died, and I don't think they would have had we been here, because I came back this morning and just saw tons of potato bugs. And I don't know if you remember or not, but in the last video I was saying, oh my goodness, I haven't even had to put DE on for the last week, like not even a little bit, because the potato bugs were not there. And so unfortunately they came back over the 2 weeks while we were gone, and now I'll have to dig up potatoes kind of prematurely. You know, there's nothing I can do about it. I just know that next year we will not be gone mid-June and end of June, because that is not a good time to leave your garden. But, you know, you live, you learn. So here's another bed of corn, and it's ahead of what the corn was last year. Like, the corn is more plump, but again, it's short, which is really odd. I don't know what's going on. Beets. We're harvesting our beets just kind of whenever. I have not found out how to eat beets that I like them. You know, I've had beets at like restaurants, like beet fries, and they're really good. But I don't know, I can't, when I roast them at home, they're just not good. We don't like them. We grew them just because, for our neighbors, and then also because I accidentally left a pack of seeds, beet seeds, out here, and so I just kind of raked it in. So when we were pulling weeds, just some beets came up, and I don't know how I'm going to use them. Okay, next up is all of our volunteer watermelon. They're doing really well. And I'm hopeful we'll actually be able to harvest these this year, since we have our protection from the raccoons. One thing I noticed today is all my onions have died. I had, right there was just tons of onions, and they all died. I don't know why. I bought those onions as starts. I didn't plant them from seed or anything. I've never had luck with onions. I don't know what's going on with that. My other potato patch, again, just overrun with potato bugs, and wasn't 2 weeks ago. My zucchini are starting to die out. So I think I will probably pull these up. You know, I have those other zucchini plants in the other bed over by the tomatoes and the carrots, and then I will plant some more zucchini seeds for kind of a fall harvest as well. This is cantaloupe, again, short corn, and some cucumber growing in there. We are still getting blueberries and raspberries. Not a ton. I mean, we're about done with the blueberry harvest. And I'll walk over there and show you the raspberries. We're about done with the spring-summer raspberry harvest, but our raspberries are already ramping up for the fall harvest. I don't know if you can see in there all those tiny blooms and tiny little raspberries. That's all for the fall harvest, and there's tons in there, so that's good. Okay, I guess I'll show you what's under the hoops. Okay, this is where the lettuce was in the spring, and I planted some zucchini seeds and also some winter squash. I think this is probably like a butternut squash or something, to try to keep the squash bugs at bay for the beginning. But now that they're flowering, I don't know, I guess I should uncover them. That would make sense, wouldn't it? However, I have some cauliflower under here that I don't want to uncover because, you know, I don't want them gotten by the bugs. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. So that is this bed. This is the bed that's right in the blueberry patch. So here's this tunnel that's right underneath the trees. This is where I planted my brassicas. But those are broccoli and cabbages that I'm hoping to plant for a fall harvest, and lots of weeds, and it looks like that lettuce might not be good anymore because it looks like it's bolted. But I did plant some more lettuce that maybe we'll be able to harvest in about a month. So that's what's under here. I will taste that lettuce to see if it's really bad. If it's bad, I'll throw it to the chickens. But, you know, again, if I wasn't gone for 2 weeks, I'd be cutting that daily, and it would probably do really well. This bed basically hasn't been uncovered since I planted. So, yeah, we had to pull quite a few weeds. When I planted here, I hadn't mulched for the season, and with just our humidity and our heat and our humidity and all of our rain that we get here in eastern North Carolina, the mulch decomposes every year, and you have to reapply just once a year. Otherwise, you'll get a lot of weeds, which obviously we did. So anyway, we have some broccoli, and we have some cabbages, and some kale in this bed. We're also harvesting we were harvesting a lot of our blackberries, but a couple of chickens have started getting out, and so they're harvesting our blackberries. But the blackberry plant is doing really well. The canes are doing really well, and so what we need to do this fall is dig it up and put it in the garden. So then it'll be protected, and I'm sure it'll do even better when it doesn't have all these weeds to compete with. I don't know if I ever showed you, we have a mama and a baby chick. Well, obviously we have mamas, but we have a baby chick. I don't know if you saw it as it went behind there. The reason the mama and the baby are out is because, if you can see the end of this tunnel, and the tunnel has been smushed in, the end has been ripped off. We have a rabid raccoon. The chickens have stopped laying because they're scared of it. It's been kind of terrorizing them for the last almost month now. And the other day, there's the baby. The other day it ripped off the tunnel, and the mama protected the baby. She did a wonderful job, but we're just kind of letting them do their thing right now, and then I think we will move them into this run that's attached to the little coop, and then we borrowed a trap from our neighbor, and we'll trap the raccoon and then call animal control, because we don't want a rabid raccoon around. So, look at these things, these monsters. I couldn't even tell you how tall that is. Maybe 12 feet tall. It was our tallest mammoth sunflower. So we have moved the chickens into here just today, so you can't even really see them. But they're loving it. They're eating stuff down. In here we have, obviously, sunflowers, like I showed you. We have cucumbers for them to eat. We have beans and kale. And then lots and lots of grass. What do you think, Whitey? You like it? That's our rooster. But this one is never happy. No matter where we put them, she finds a way out. She is the most frustrating chicken in the whole wide world. But the good news is our garden is protected from her. Normally she'll go dig stuff up and ruin stuff in the garden. We haven't been harvesting a ton of cucumbers just because we aren't big fans of cucumbers. But we do have a ton. And what we'll do is we'll just throw them to the chickens. That is the garden tour. That's the experimental garden. And I will see you probably next week for another update. Have a great day.